The question is, why does the central bank own gold? And he says, because gold will retain its value even when, now get this, someone cuts off the power to the global financial system. If you are responsible for your family, you owe it to them and to yourself to do the best you can to do that, and hope to God you never need it. It's like buying a firearm and bullets. You know, no one buys a gun and bullets and says, I can't wait to use it. But when your window breaks at 4 a.m, you're damn glad you have it. Well, the same thing would be true about any of the things that I just said, and you hope you don't ever need to do it. But
think your cash is safe in the bank? Think again. As inflation rises and economic uncertainties grow, the money you've worked so hard to save could be losing value faster than you realize. But what can you do about it? Imagine taking control, securely storing your cash at home or converting it into gold and silver, assets that have protected wealth for centuries. With the gold to silver ratio on the verge of flipping, now is the time to understand how these market shifts could impact your financial future. In this video, we'll explore what's next for silver prices, how to shield your wealth, and why waiting could cost you more than you think. Stay with us. This is information you can't afford to ignore.
And I think a lot of these people some of them are good people. Some of them have, I think, conflict in the way things are playing out, and they want to drop some crumbs for people to interpret. I do believe that. And there have been a lot of crumbs dropped along the way. Poland has been one of the largest purchasers of gold over the last couple of years, and they've actually accumulated 420 metric tons of gold, and it puts them in an exclusive club amongst the world's largest gold holders. I think they have more than the European Union right now. And he says his plans are to have 20% gold holdings, and which is interesting too, because in terms of being more than the European Union has cumulatively, in the respect that gold has now taken over globally as the second most held reserve in central bank holdings, surpassing the euro, which is interesting, and first time since the European Union has been, or the euro currency has been in existence. But he has publicly said that his plans are to reach 20% of the country's foreign exchange reserves in gold. And they asked him not too long ago why they're accumulating so much gold. What's the purpose? And the answer is very shocking, if you ask me. And is this a crumb? Kind of seems that way to me. And, I'll let you decide for yourself. And I may have read this on your show once because he said it 6-8 months ago. The question is, why does the central bank own gold? And he says, because gold will retain its value even when, now get this, someone cuts off the power to the global financial system, destroying traditional assets based on electronic accounting records. Of course, we don't assume that this will happen, but as the saying goes, forewarned is forearmed, and the central bank is required to be prepared for even the most unfavorable conditions. This is why we see a special place for gold in our foreign exchange management process. After all, gold is free from credit risk and cannot be devalued by any country's economic policy. Besides, it is extremely durable and virtually indestructible. You have a central banker here saying when someone shuts off the power to the global financial system, destroying traditional assets based on electronic accounting records. Now, is that a crumb? You tell me. What if there was a cyber attack and the internet goes down and you can't access your money? Everything is digital nowadays, right? I mean, if you don't have something, how are you going to get your money? How are you going to access anything? And I know it's far-fetched, but is it any more far-fetched than what we lived through over the last couple of years in a world that is getting two things? One, way more sophisticated and digital. And if you own anyone who owns a company will understand the amount of nonstop phishing emails and trying to cyber threat, right? And the amount of money you need to spend to defend against that. And it's funny, I always get these emails, from these idiots. One of them says, my wife's name is Jana, and it says, Hello, Andy Schectman. I need you to change my bank account information. Thank you very much. And it was my wife's name. And I'm like, it's like, really? But but it's nonstop. And so when you talk about a world that is very digital, that is becoming more digital, and sophisticated, so too are the people who try to pry it from you. So who's to say it couldn't happen? Be prepared. That's about the best advice I can give anyone. And yeah, gold and silver have a role in that preparation, but so do a lot of other things. And I think, if you are responsible for your family, you owe it to them and to yourself to do the best you can to do that, and hope to God you never need it. It's like buying a firearm and bullets. No one buys a gun and bullets and says, I can't wait to use it. But when your window breaks at 4 a.m, you're damn glad you have it. Well, the same thing would be true about any of the things that I just said, and you hope you don't ever need to do it. But I think the world is accelerating, and when you look at all of the things that are happening in this country and around the world that you just shake your head at, that never was: civil disobedience, the lack of respect for authority, the breakdown of the nuclear family, all of these things, the inner cities, the lawlessness. You just have to ask yourself, do you want to not be prepared, or would you rather be prepared and sleep well at night? I always tell people, do the best you can to get out of debt. And I know it's easier said than done, but, I remember talking to my grandfather. I couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old, and he used to pitch me baseballs every day. And we would talk, and I remember him telling me that he wouldn't buy a house or buy a car unless he had the money to do so. Now, granted, the first house the first house that I remember living in, probably not the first house my parents bought, but it was $75,000. They sold it for, $700,000 or $800,000 many years later. First house that my grandparents bought, if you go back to like 1960, the Census Bureau will tell you the average price of a house was $17,000. Now, the value of the dollar has certainly declined, but it's gotten to a point where everyone in this country feels it's their birthright to go into debt. Big mistake. Do not become a debt slave. Do the best you can to let the laws of compounding work for you instead of against you. And in that same vein, I would say pay yourself first, always, no matter what. There's always a reason to not. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I owe this. You can buy an ounce of silver. You can buy a tenth of a Bitcoin. You can do whatever you are going to do to pay yourself first. And I don't care what your chosen vehicle is, even a $10 bill in a jar, which isn't probably the best way to do it because of inflation, but it's better than nothing. If you don't pay yourself first, it's like working out or dieting or anything that you're trying to accomplish. If you don't become methodical about it and regimented, you wake up one day and you're 53 years old like I am and wonder where the hell did all the time go. And so to let the laws of compounding work for you instead of against you. I tell the story all the time. I started this company with my father. I was 19. And he told me the only rule is that I'd buy something every 2 weeks when I get paid, gold or silver, period, or he'd fire me. And that was 34 years ago, and I own the company outright. And he's still alive, and he's not going to fire me any longer if I don't honor that. But I've honored my word. And it's the best gift my father's ever given me. Honest to God, the best was to make me understand the laws of compounding and make me understand the importance of doing all I can, even if it's little by little, over time, to allow me the opportunity to get out of the rat race. And that's, if you're anywhere near my age, you probably don't feel that in your brain. Your body may say, yeah, that's how old you are. But, I feel like I'm 20 years old, and I don't think of things that much differently. You know what I'm saying? And life has a funny way of creeping up on you. My dad says life's like a roll of toilet paper. When you're young, you don't notice the passage of time. You don't notice it spinning. As you get older, it spins faster and faster and faster. You start to notice the cardboard. Now, I don't really see the cardboard yet, but you understand what I'm getting to at, and time keeps on going. And if you don't pay yourself first, you'll never get out of the rat race, get off the wheel. And if you do as everyone else does, try to keep up with the Joneses, you're doing yourself a great disservice by going deeper and deeper into debt in an environment where the economy has every appearance of beginning to slow down. And inflation's not going anywhere. I expect it to accelerate. What you will have is a slowing economy, higher taxes, higher inflation. That's called stagflation, where you have little or no economic growth, but higher prices, higher inflation, higher taxes. President Biden is talking about, if he gets reelected, that he will raise capital gains taxes to 44%. If you have over $100 million, you'll pay 25% unrealized gain taxes. This is a government that is starved for revenue and will do whatever they can to get it. And that means higher taxes and higher inflation, which is a hidden tax.
Your financial future is in your hands. Will you leave your wealth at the mercy of uncertainty or take action to secure it? Gold and silver have stood the test of time. Could they be the key to protecting your assets? If you found this information valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insights. Together, let's navigate these uncertain times and build a stronger, safer financial future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.